Hey everybody, I'm Ray.
And I'm Paul.
And we are the Alconauts. This week we're joined by... oh man. Anyways, this week we are joined by good friend and local legend in his own mind, Mark Andrews. Hey Mark.
Thanks,
Hey,
Ray.
Mark.
I appreciate you building me up so much with that great introduction. You're so slick. This is a really slick production. I'm glad to be part of it. What you all didn't see was the clapper board at the front, which was like way over the top for what we're making. But carry on.
Mark, familiarize our audience with who you are and what you do, and let them know your vocation and endeavors.
I've got some hobbies. One of them is I do a little bit of dabbling in stand-up comedy. But I won't call myself a stand-up comedian, and we've discussed this before, which is why Ray was hesitating.
Exactly.
But you have done shows in the area. You have appeared at different venues. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But right now, what we're going to do, instead of reviewing a beer, we're actually going to be doing a special beer cocktail. And Ray, give us a tail of the tape on that.
Alrighty, so today we are going to be tasting the Cocky Rooster. This is a beverage that contains lime, maggi sauce, sriracha sauce, jalapeno, lime wedge, coarse salt of some type. Here we have some pink Himalayan salt, because we're fancy on this show. And a lager of choice. This week we've chosen Moosehead Lager. So we're assuming that our ABV on this one's going to be about 5%.
We have no idea what this is going to be like. Just by looking at the ingredients, I've already got an ulcer developing. So before we start putting this thing together, we're going to go through the process so that Mark's on the same page with us, as well as you guys out there. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put this drink together. We're going to have an initial sip, get an initial opinion on it. Fingers crossed on that. Find out a little more about Mark. Get ourselves to about the halfway point in our glass, or just around the bend. See if our opinion is still the same about this beer cocktail. And then we'll talk a little bit more about Mark and his endeavors. And then, before we get to the bottom of the glass, we're going to do the final chug. And whether this is good or bad, I'm pretty sure I know which way this is going. We're going to chug this thing back. And this could be the most painful chug in Alconauts history. So welcome to history, Mark.
May I just point out, I had diarrhea yesterday. Just throwing that out there.
It could be a little painful tomorrow then for you, sir.
All right, well, I've got this. How you guys making out?
I'm all set.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, guys, let's try this out and let's see what the initial opinion is on this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. I don't know what to think. It's spicy. I can tell you that much. I can taste the salt. I can taste a little bit on the Maggi. You would not know. Just a slight hint of the beer. I don't know what this is supposed to taste like. It's just I'm so confused. Mark, what are you thinking?
You know, there's just one thing that would make this better. If you took all those ingredients out and just drank the beer. I feel like I've just ruined the beer. That won't stop me drinking it though.
What are you thinking, Ray?
Honestly, it's disgusting. It's
If you
the worst
invented
drink I've ever had.
this-
I think I'm winning the chug today.
Where did you find this recipe?
This recipe actually comes from our friends beermod.com. They have an actual section dedicated to a whole plethora of different beer cocktails. I just saw a Cocky Rooster, and I thought, you know what? I gotta try this. It's got
Sorry, I gotta bring my
sriracha in
stunt beer in.
It's got jalapenos in it.
I gotta drink some of this.
I'm starting to get acclimated to the drink, so
I don't like this at all.
I don't think I would, if this was ever canned or made as an actual something that you have to pay for. I don't think I'd pay for this at all. I would almost demand a refund and ask for.
You did pay for this. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Actually, I did pay for the ingredients.
So I don't like Caesars, and I tried to get through a spicy Caesar, the Clamato can thing, and this is reminding me of that a lot.
See, this reminds me of that as well, but I actually do drink Mott's Clamato, and I do buy it in cans, and I do enjoy it. This, I would not purchase.
You know what? The cool factor is long gone. It's I'm still drinking it, so I'm trying to give it a second chance.
I'm saying that, but just I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sure now. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody unless you hated them. Say, hey, you know what? You should try this out, Jim. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Jim.
I think that if you put this out at a party, if you're having a house party like one of your famous karaoke evenings, and you put a giant bowl of that as like a punch or something, people would take the first one, and then you'd have about 16 half-finished cups around your house that you found the next morning, because no one would finish it. They'd go, and then just go. They would reach for something else.
It could be that one drink that just kind of pushes them over the edge, that causes them to just
vomit,
spew everything out. Yeah.
In everyone's shoes by the front door.
We want to learn a little bit more about Mark. Mark, you have been on stage. You have done comedy, and I've been to a couple of your shows. How did you get your start?
You know Desta, right? My friend Desta.
Yep, absolutely.
So, it was about 4 years ago. I think I called up Desta. I said, let's go to some comedy place. Let's try it out. So we went, and it was like an amateur night. And I was watching it, and all the time I'm thinking, I wouldn't say this to the people now, because I'm quite friendly with a lot of them. But I was thinking at the time, fucking hell, they're rubbish. I could do a lot better than this. And then after like 4 or 5 drinks, I went up to the guy that was running the show and went, hey, can I ever go? And he was like, yeah, you could be on in 2 weeks. So then I had 2 weeks, and you have to write 5 minutes. So then I'm thinking, all right. So I started writing stuff, and then I realised actually it's pretty difficult, because you've got to be original. You can't just go on the internet and look up jokes, funniest jokes, and then write them down and then say them. Although 1 or 2 people have tried that, but they get called out on it. So yeah, the first time I went up there, it was pretty terrifying, but it went all right. Mostly because I brought a lot of people that were very polite and would just laugh at what I said. So I thought I'd done really well, and that persuaded me to go up again. And I went up loads of times, and I think I did okay.
I gotta say, it takes a lot of balls to get up there on stage and just really kind of put yourself on the line. You know, it is a lot more difficult than people think, right? Everyone thinks that it's easy to be funny and to write your own material and get up there, but it takes absolute balls to get up there. I wouldn't be able to do it, to be honest with you.
The first inkling that I got that I thought I would like it was when I had to do a speech at my wedding, and that was like the first taste of it, because I did a couple of jokes in my wedding speech, and I got a big laugh, and I really enjoyed that feeling. And then I sort of thought, I'd like to do this at some point, but I never really pursued it until I found out that you can actually. I didn't realise you can just go to amateur nights. I never really thought about how do people start, right? But that's how you start. So if you're watching this, both of the people watching this, I'd just like to say, if you want to try stand-up comedy, go to an amateur night and just write down everything that you've ever said that was ever funny in your whole life, and then you've got to make up another 4.5 minutes to fill the 5, and then just get up on stage, get really drunk, because that always helps. Don't write anything down or have flashcards, because you'll definitely remember everything that you plan to say, and then just get up and have a go. The worst thing that can happen is complete silence and you get booed off the stage at the end. So.
Total dejection is the worst thing that could happen to you.
But it's a good. I don't know. It's a good feeling because it gives you a little bit of an adrenaline rush, right? It's scary because like you could have that complete failure. You trying to say something funny in front of say 50 or 60 strangers, and they just all think you're an asshole.
Okay, I'm already past the bend. I don't know how you guys are
How
doing.
are you past the bend?
Because I don't want to chug a lot.
Oh, I'm struggling.
I was wise. See, I saved extra beer to dilute the last bit.
Let's have a couple steps. Let's see if our opinions have varied. So, cheers to you guys.
Is this the chug?
Cheers to you guys.
God, no.
It's not the chug.
Oh. Cheers, everybody.
It is growing on me.
To be honest with you, it's settled down. The heat keeps rising. It almost reminds me of that habanero spicy beer we did from Frank's.
Yeah,
right?
the habanero honey.
But it's starting to settle down in terms of the overall taste. I'm not minding as much as when you guys said mentioned the Caesar. It's kind of akin to that, except it's not tomatoey and it's not delicious. It's actually flat line in terms of taste. I think the Maggi sauce kind of cuts down into it. I'd probably suggest if you're doing this, add a little bit more Maggi sauce and add a little bit more lime. I didn't have a lot of lime, so you guys actually had a full ounce. I think I maybe had like a quarter of an ounce of lime in it. So I'm not too sure if it was. I'm not too sure it was.
I think a little bit of soy sauce.
You don't like the Maggi?
Maybe I didn't put enough in. I don't know. Let's try a little bit more.
We're gonna improvise and add more. Hang on. Like I said, I put like 6 dashes in.
See, a dash was, maybe
Well,
I didn't put
a dash. Dash. And to be honest with you, I love Maggi sauce, so I kind of dash that stuff into my mouth anyways.
Ugh. Ugh. I'm really struggling with this one. It is not growing on me. It is not getting a flat flavor. It makes me want to vomit. That was not the
right idea. Yeah, that was not the right idea to put more Maggi sauce.
It also looks a little bit, if you look at it, it's kind of like a dirty brown. It looks like Welland River in a glass.
Yeah, it's the sriracha has separated into little balls in there. I think it's the sriracha that I'm seeing.
Yeah, it does look a little bit like raw sewage that's kind of settling out.
It does.
I've got a luxury of a glass. Look at that. Does that look delicious to you? Look at that. What is that? Floaty stuff.
Just think about it. You get that in the chug.
Yeah, that is what I'll be chugging.
This is gonna be a fun chug. I got a feeling I'm gonna win this one. But you know what? I gotta say, for the consequences, loser of the chug has to eat a slice of the jalapeno.
I'd rather not do that either, but...
Well, you better win the chug. It's, I'm gonna tell you, this is, probably one of the most difficult things I've had to drink in terms of the show. Not the worst thing I've had to drink in terms of alcoholic beverages.
It even smells bad.
Yeah, it's very pungent.
It's gross.
We seem to have lost Ray.
I think he's vomiting off camera. Can you hear it? We'll put some sound effects in afterwards. Some retching effects.
This could be a rough one.
This is gonna be a hard edit.
Oh, okay. Wardrobe change.
Yeah,
I love it.
He soiled his other garments.
Why did you wear that in the first place, Ray?
I forgot!
Yeah. Okay, we'll start again. I'll do the intro. Welcome to Alconauts. Today is sponsored by
Sriracha
sauce and Santry lime juice.
I've noticed that comedy seems to, a lot of the comedians that I've seen lately, it seems it's self-deprecating humor and it's situational humor, like situations that they've been in, something about their family, something. It just seems to have gotten it seems to all be very similar, but each individual story. So
yeah, see, back when I was growing up, it was all jokes, and and not only that, the comedians that were on TV, they weren't even writing the jokes. They were like, all they were doing was collectors of jokes. They would go, they'd go around, and they would every comic was stealing everyone else's work. All they were doing was just collecting like the jokes that people used to tell in the bars, and then just delivering them really well and being able to remember like an hour of jokes. That's what a comic used to be, and then it gradually, probably like the 80s and 90s, became unacceptable to steal other comedians' jokes, and it kind of transitioned because it wasn't really an art form, sort of. It's like comedy's not been around for as long as things like music, right? It's fairly new if you start digging into the history of it. And so it was kind of like a wild, wild west for a few years, and then people realised, you can't really just go stealing each other's stuff. And then when TV came in, it sort of really changed it, because you definitely can't be stealing people's material as soon as TV's involved, because people get upset.
Right.
So then it just kind of became, like, oh, this happened to me the other day. It never has happened to any comic ever. When they say, oh, a funny thing happened to me yesterday, total bullshit. It's a made-up story, but you have to deliver it in a way that sounds like it might be true, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like the observational stuff, and some of the best comedy is what's called known unknowns, when someone states something that you've thought of and loads of other people have already thought of, like dildos never have foreskins, but no one's ever stated it out loud.
I can't get that thought out of my mind. I can't get that visual out of my mind now.
That's an original. Just came out the top of my head, just like that. That's how good I am.
Copyright.
Yeah. Date stamp. I own that now.
Have you ever been to a show where you've watched another comedian or an amateur just blatantly just rip off someone else's material?
Yes.
And get called out on it?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
Yes.
And what's the atmosphere like in that club?
Usually, people are, oh, good job, really good, and then they'll be like, just going, that's that other guy. That's because the thing is, with the internet, you can Google the premise of a joke. If someone comes out and they says something, and you go, there's no way they've just made that up. If they're an amateur and it's their first time and they're like, and they're killing it, you're like, okay, something's off. So you do a little bit of Googling and you go, okay, that's like a 20-year-old joke, and someone else came up with that ages ago, and this person's just like regurgitating it. So usually they'll sort of just be given a quiet word in the ear and say, you can't do that, and then they'll come back a couple of weeks later and do their own material, and it'll be shit. But then all the comics will be killing themselves laughing at the back.
Really, eh? That's awesome.
Some of the funniest nights I've had has been someone who's really shit, and there's just a couple of comics laughing at the back at how shit they are. It's kind of mean, but we're not hurting anyone, because they want the laughs. They're getting the laughs. Everyone's happy.
I don't know where you guys are in the class, but I think I'm ready for this chug.
I'm ready.
You guys ready for this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Ray, explain the rules.
All right.
And let's get this started.
So, I'm going to count us down from 3 to 1, and then I'll say go. After I say go, we're going to chug what's left in our glass. First glass back to the table wins. Last glass to the table, apparently, is chowing down on one of these bad boys. So, are we ready, gentlemen?
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, wait for the go. 1, go.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
That is the most awful, disgusting, vile thing I've ever drank in my life.
That was the worst chug I've ever done. But I'm just so happy I beat you, Ray.
I'm now gonna drink.
Did you? I can't see you because of the way. I can't see you, Paul, because of the way I've got the screen set up on my laptop. So
I'm super related.
Ugh.
Well, You gotta do the consequence, so grab that jalapeno.
Here it is. Alright. Here we go. I don't like jalapenos.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
Oh, tomorrow's gonna suck.
It sounds so crunchy.
Yeah, it's good audio. You can tell you're the audio guy.
Alrighty.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
That's awesome. With that being said, Mark, we want to thank you for being on the show. This has been absolutely entertaining. I think we've learned a few things about the amateur industry. If
was
you
very
can give
enlightening.
advice, if you can give advice to someone who's thinking of trying an amateur night or even trying to pursue a career, what advice could you give them?
Don't bother networking. Don't bother begging people for spots. Just work on writing funny stuff. Because if you're really funny, people will figure it out. If you're shit, they'll figure it out. If you're funny, they'll figure it out. You don't need to network. If you're really good, things will sort of take care of themselves. Which is why
You work in IT.
I'm still working in IT. Cheers.
For you amateur comedians out there, I've seen Mark work. The only advice I can give you is
Don't do what Mark does.
don't use props.
Or puppies or children.
And with that being said, I'm Paul,
I'm Ray.
and this is Mark, and we are the Alconauts.
Cheers, all.
Cheers.
Take care.